By the end of this video, you'll be able to turn a messy note system that you already have and have Claude make some sort of dashboard or reorganization so that you can more easily find it. In a previous video, I showed you how to set up a second brain with Obsidian from an empty vault. Today, I'll show you that you don't actually need to set it up from scratch. A lot of you have a note system, a project or repo with a lot of files, and you can use that to set up a second brain using Claude Code. For example, I have this project here that I have a lot of research that I've done over the last few months as I was building out new projects and I was doing a lot of research. And I didn't explicitly set up a second brain, but I do have some interconnected notes already. But we're going to use Claude Code today to talk about how you can enhance this setup from scratch so that if you already have an existing system, you can use Claude Code to make it so that you can use it as a place that you can find information that you had previously that you might not remember. And so with that, I'm going to go into the terminal screen here, which I have a video how to set that up. And the first thing I'm going to do here is, as of the last few days, the new Fable 5 model came out, and you can use that, but it ends up being a lot slower. So I switched to the Opus model, and for most second brain setups, Opus will be more than enough for what you need. And so here, I'm going to use the same voice to text transcription that I talked about in my previous video here. If you want to learn how to set that up, it is free. And then once you set that up, you don't actually have to type anymore. You can just talk to the screen. And so I'll basically use Option W to set up the shortcut to then talk into the screen. And then I'll tell Claude to set up a new second brain system. Hey, Claude, this is a project that I have and I need your help to help me set it up as a second brain so I can use it to find information and remember what I have for future projects. Can you help me with that and how to best set that up? And so because I've already set this up previously and I have some conventions that are already here, you'll see that Claude is gonna look and see if there's already a setup convention, and you can tell Claude to change that. And here, let's see what they say. And so after Claude finished reading the project, it made some recommendations and created a dashboard for me so that I can use to manage my second brain based off this research that you just talk to Claude, ask them what you might need to do to set it up so that it's easier to use. And for example, you'll see here Claude has identified a gap where we don't have a root dashboard, and Claude went ahead and built out a dashboard. And the one thing it didn't create was a Claude project file. And so I'm going to ask it to also create a Claude project file. So anytime I come back into this project and I want to ask Claude to help me find something, it can do that more easily. So I'll do it again. Option W to start the voice transcription. Hey, Claude, can you also create a Claude MD file so that anytime I start working on this project, you have the context that you need automatically so that we can get the relevant context that we need to do any additional analysis, research, or work in this project. So Claude has finished making the Claude MD file so that it has a guideline of how to start a new session. So let's test this out. We're going to do Command D to start a new surface on the right side. And then we're going to do CC to start a new Claude Code session. And then Option W to do another voice transcription. Hey, Claude, can you help me figure out if we did any research on on-device translations in the past and summarize and tell me what we did about it in the past so I can remember. And so that's one of the nice things of setting up a second brain is that you don't actually have to remember a lot of the information. You just capture that and then let Claude organize it for you so that it can find that information much more quickly. And then you'll see here that once Claude finishes it, they can kind of summarize what we've already done in the past so we can remember that and reuse anything that we've already done in the past. And so this was a part of the work that I was trying to add a feature to my iOS app, Nano Voice. And I was trying to figure out if I could add translation to it very easily. And you'll see here that we already did research. And let's say I wanted to revisit if I wanted to add translation to the feature. And I don't remember if I did that. I can go back to my second brain, ask Claude, did we already do this research? Sometimes I forget. And then it looks like we've already done this, and I realized that it's not an easy solution, and maybe I won't pursue it right now. And maybe in 6 months again, I'll revisit this. That's a use case of. So after the translation, now we have the information that we have. Let's go back to this other Claude session and, hey Claude, from the dashboard Python script that you have, can you create the dashboard for me in an MD format so I can see in Obsidian directly? And then if you have anything that you want Claude to help you set it up so it's more easy to view, you can ask Claude to do that directly, and Claude will be able to do that and kind of improve that quality of a life experience. So after I ask Claude to set up that dashboard in MD format, Claude will do that and it will tell me how to view it. And so here, I actually didn't know this because this is a problem that I have quite often. I actually don't want to edit a file in Obsidian, and you can switch to reading view much more easily with a shortcut, Command E. So let me go down here and look at the README and see what it says. And here you'll see that I already had a research project that Claude now just added a simple dashboard so I can look at all the files that I have in this project and see if I need to review something, or I can quickly at a glance see what type of topics that I have. I have research topics, and if I scroll down, I can see what days I did that research, some reference guides, some landscape, some implementation patterns, some how-to. And I have a lot of different vaults in projects where I do something similar and I structure them all differently. And over time, I've kind of converged on using Obsidian as my project and notes viewer, and I'll have Claude manage it end to end. And a lot of my projects now, I also have a Kanban board set up so that whenever I go into a project, Claude can just take a task and a card from that Kanban board and help me kind of triage it or groom it. And I have a video on that here, so you can go there and look and watch that as well. It's also in Obsidian. So the dashboard that Claude helps you set up, you can more easily look at themes and find information. And as Claude mentioned, you can also switch to editing view or reading view really easily. And when you're in editing mode, you can actually make incremental updates to it. For example, let's say I wanted to change this, add some additional details. And then if I don't want to make any edits, I can switch to reading mode, and then I can just basically more easily copy and paste. But we're gonna go back into our terminal so that we can ask Claude Code some more research, and we're gonna use a shortcut for the voice to text again. Have another video on that here. Hey Claude, can you look in this project and find what research we did on SQLite? I don't remember what we did, but I need to remember how to set it up or anything important about it. And then we ask Claude about that. I actually don't remember what we did on SQLite research, but I did extensive research on that when I was figuring out how to set it up, when to set it up. And then we'll have Claude be able to summarize that back to me so I don't have to redo that. And so I think I remember seeing a tweet of how you can use SQLite for production applications and services. And I didn't have the time to look into it at that point in time. So I just had Claude do a research, document it, save it, so that when I want to come back to it, I can come back to it. And you'll see here, it found the research early May, and it looks like you can basically do concurrent writes up into 1,000 users. And I think now that I remember it, this is actually triggering a lot of what prompted this. And there was probably a tweet from Peter Levels. And so when you see a tweet, you watch a YouTube video, and you want to reference later in the future, you can just give that link or that context to Claude, have it capture it, and then at a later point in time, you can then retrieve the information as you need it. And you don't have to worry about creating a bookmark or documenting it and not remembering where it is. I've created so many bookmarks and they all get lost, but now I can have it in Claude Code, in Obsidian. I can search for it, find it really easily. Or what I do now is I have a Kanban board, and so I can set it up. If I really want to review it in 7 days, I can add it to my backlog or review next week or review on a certain day, and then Claude will automatically remember to prompt me to review. It's like, oh, do you want to review this right now? And so that is how you can use Claude Code to set up a second brain with existing notes or projects that you already have. You don't have to start from scratch, but if you want to, you can as well. I have many vaults, many second brains for different topics. I have a second brain for my YouTube content and strategy. And here, this is more on kind of like developer research and projects as I was building out my Whisperflow iOS app version, or I wanted to back up my data without using S3, looking for a cheaper one. You can see I found Backblaze. And so when I'm ready to set it up, I can just go back here and ask Claude, what's the best way to set this up, or what's the cheapest provider for that. And so I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions, leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you.